Good point, sir.
Go ahead, نازنین.
Welcome to the 67th session of the No to Execution campaign. We are honored to welcome our guests, our distinguished speakers, and everyone joining us today through this webinar and across social media platforms. My name is نافعی, a member of the coordination committee of the campaign, together with Saman Haji Mohammad, a member of the coordination committee of the Yafi Independent Alliance for Free Iran. We will be moderating today's program. Please note that today's webinar will be conducted in both English and Persian. Each English presentation will be followed by its Persian translation, so all participants can fully engage with the discussion. To begin, I want to note that we often honor those we've lost with a moment of silence. But the loved ones we lost in Iran did not want silence. They stood with extraordinary courage, raised their voices for justice, and took their demands to the streets. And the answer they received was bullets. In their final moments, they certainly shouted, "Long live freedom." For a few seconds, please turn on your microphones and let your applause become the echo of their bravery, their voices, and their unbroken resistance. Please turn on your camera and applause for them. Thank you so much. You can mute yourself now. Thank you. به 67مین جلسه کارزار نه به اعدام خوش آمدید. نازنین نافعی هستم، عضو هیئت هماهنگی کارزار به همراه سمن حاجی محمد از اعضای هیئت هماهنگی ائتلاف مستقل برای ایران آزاد. اجرای برنامه امروز رو بر عهده داریم. وبینار به 2 زبان فارسی و انگلیسی برگزار می شود. در آغاز معمولاً برای یادبود جانباختگان سکوت می‌کنیم، اما عزیزانی که در ایران از دست دادیم سکوت نمی‌خواستند. با شجاعتی کم نظیر برای عدالت به خیابان‌ها آمدند و پاسخشان گلوله بود. و مطمئناً در آخرین لحظات فریادشان زنده باد آزادی بود. و ما با تشویق هامون پژواک شجاعت و مقاومت آنها شدیم. با سپاس. Let us begin with our first speaker, Shahla دانشفر, who will provide a briefing on the latest resistance and protest developments inside Iran. گزارش اخبار مبارزات داخل ایران رو با سرکار خانم شهلا دانشفر خواهیم داشت. سرکار خانم دانشفر لطفاً ترجمه گزارشات خودتون رو هم به صورت مختصر به فارسی بعد از انگلیسی بفرمایید. 5 دقیقه میکروفون در اختیارتون هست. بفرمایید.
Hello everyone, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak. I don't have good news today. You know, only in 2 days of January 8 and 9, the Islamic regime carried out an unbelievable massacre in Iran. The regime opened fire on protesters in the street in various cities and killed more than 30,000 protesters, women, men, young, old, even children. In this brutal attack, they injured 980,000 people, blinded 24,000 people, and arrested tens of thousands. After open firing at the protests, They delivered final shots to the wounded who were lying on the street and killed them at point-blank range. They also attacked hospitals, arrested the wounded there, and took them away. Some reports on the ground even suggest that the actual number of deaths is much higher, with some saying the actual number exceeds 80,000. To carry out this massacre, the Islamic regime brought in military forces using their own as well as help from other countries, such as Hashto-Shabi, Zainabiya, etc. This massacre was carried out under the cover of an internet shutdown and complete media blackout. The internet is still down and only come back for very limited hours. Even it is very weak. People in Iran are gradually emerging from the shock of the genocide. It is important that we amplify their voices and give our maximum support to the Iranian freedom movement. With this genocide that carried out by the government, millions of people in Iran are seeking justice and are united in anger and hatred of the regime. You know, protesters in Iran took to the streets in more than 100 cities in their fight against a gender apartheid state where women have little to no right, against poverty and huge economic insecurity, against government corruption, and the day-to-day violence carried out by the regime. Now the economic situation of the people has become worse even than before. And some food and medical items are even unavailable. Many businesses, jobs, and markets are closed. This situation makes the people angrier. At present, the atmosphere in the cities is extremely securitized and is under the control of military forces of regime. Today in Iran, millions of people are demanding justice and standing firm. As I mentioned, society is gradually emerging from shock and wants to finish the task of overthrowing the government. For example, last week, the nightly chants of Iran's youth and brave people in Tehran, Karaj, Isfahan, Shiraz continued with loud cries of death to the dictator. The people message to the ruling authorities is, you cannot silence us through killing. The youth are organizing themselves in the neighborhoods to continue giving power to protests and the revolt. Ceremonies for those who were killed are also on the way, which will drive society to protest even more. On January 19, people held a ceremony marking the birthday of Ali Reza Rahimi, a 26-year-old young man who was killed during the protest. On January 20, the funeral ceremony of Ali Khaledi, one of those killed in the protest, took place, with a large crowd in attendance chanting death to the dictator. And on 24 January, yesterday, funeral for Sina Hafsenas in Gorgan. The protests of labor unions and human rights organizations worldwide for the Iranian people's struggle and against this genocide is extremely valuable. And some other news, according to the news of Coordinating Council of teachers trade associations in Iran. For 7 days, people in Alborz province have been gathering in front of prosecutors.
ممنون شهر
اوکی.
جان. اگر لطف کنید که ترجمه فارسی رو هم خیلی خلاصه برای ما بفرمایید.
بله. خب ببخشید گزارش ها زیاده و به هر حال میبینید تجمعات جلو زندان شروع شده و مراسم ها محل اعتراض مردم هست. مراسم های جانباختگان، کسانی که کشته شدن تو این جنسایت، مردم ابتدا در شوک بودن اما به تدریج دارن از شوک خارج میشن. اولین پیامشون به حکومت شعار مرگ بر دیکتاتور در خیابان‌های تهران و اصفهان و شیراز بود و بعد از اون این مراسم ها رو داشتیم که در 3 روز در جاهای مختلف شاهد هستیم و این مراسم ها علیرغم حضور نیروهای انتظامی صورت گرفته و همینجور علیرغم که اینترنت قطع، اخبار دقیق بیرون داده نمیشه، ولی بخشی از مبارزه مردم انتشار اخبار این کشتاره که این تأثیر مستقیمی داره روی جلب حمایت‌های بین‌المللی و کلاً اتفاقی که در ایران افتاده، اوضاع سیاسی در ایران و در جهان رو وارد فاز دیگه‌ای کرده و تأثیر مستقیمی گذاشته. الان بحث بر سر سازماندهی در محلات هست که داره شکل میگیره و حمایت‌های مردمی از هم دیگه. نانوایان میبینیم کمک میکنن به خانواده که عزیزشون از دست دادن. پزشکان و پرستاران خیلی شجاعانه کمک میکنن به زخمی ها، حتی به خونه ها سر میزنن برای نجات زخمی شدگان. حکومت زخمی شدگان رو سعی میکنه دستگیر کنه، به بیمارستان حمله کرده و حتی زندانیان رو میکشه، در پلاستیک های سیاه میذاره و به این شکل یک جنگ تمام عیار جاری هست. آخرین نکته اینه که یک حکومت نظامی تمام عیار در تمام شهرها برقراره. حکومت با حکومت نظامی قطع اینترنت داره کار این شرایط رو در واقع تحت کنترل نگه داشته، راه دیگه ای نداره و مردم
با
هم
سپاس
بر
شهر جان.
نمیگردن به عقب. متشکرم.
با سپاس. ممنون. Our next speaker is Marta Ricciotti, member of the Fabriano City Council. Dear Marta, you have the floor for the next 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Marta Ricciotti, and I am a city councillor of Fabriano, a town in the middle of Italy. First of all, I would like to thank Anita and the organizers for inviting me to take part in this important webinar. And I thank all the speakers who today are sharing information, analysis, and concrete commitment in support of Iranian people. I represent a medium-sized city with about 30,000 people. It may seem like a small reality, far from the major stages of international politics, but I strongly believe that every voice speaking out on these issues is important, because silent in the face of human rights violations is never neutral. Local governments and municipalities play a crucial role. They are the closest democratic institutions to citizens, and for this reason, they have a responsibility to promote the value of peace, solidarity, freedom, and the protection of human rights. The city of Fabriano has already shown on several occasions its commitment to these values, especially regarding the situation of Iranian women, through symbolic and political resolutions expressing solidarity and support. Once again, in the face of the violent repression carried out by the Iranian regime against peaceful protesters, we decided not to remain silent. The entire governing majority of our city council presented a formal motion condemning these actions. Through this motion, basically, we commit ourselves to condemn the human rights violations of the Iranian regime. Stand in solidarity with the Iranian people and all peaceful movements for freedom and democracy. Push national and European institutions to take a clear, consistent, and concrete position condemning the Iranian regime. We are fully aware that our contribution alone is small, very small, but we also know that when many voices from different places come together, the message becomes stronger and harder to ignore. That is why we are here today. We want to say clearly that the Iranian people are not alone, and that the fight against executions, repression, and the denial of fundamental rights concerns all of us. Thank you very much for your attention and for your commitment.
Thank you and appreciate your support, Marta. مارتا ریچیوتی، عضو شورای شهر فابریانو در مرکز ایتالیا، با اشاره به اینکه حتی شهرهای کوچک نیز مسئولیت دارند در برابر نقض حقوق بشر سکونت نکنند، تاکید کرد که سکوت هرگز بی‌طرفی نیست. نقش مهم شهرداری‌ها و دولت‌های محلی را به عنوان نزدیکترین نهادهای دموکراتیک به مردم در ترویج صلح، همبستگی، آزادی و حقوق بشر برجسته دانست. اعلام کرد که شورای شهر فابریانو پیشتر نیز از طریق قطعنامه‌های نمادین و سیاسی همبستگی خود را به ویژه با زنان ایرانی نشان داده و این بار نیز در برابر سرکوب خشونت‌آمیز معترضان مسالمت‌جو در ایران تصمیم گرفته سکوت نکند. به همین منظور اکثریت شورای شهر طرحی رسمی ارائه دادند که شامل محکوم کردن نقض حقوق بشر توسط رژیم ایران، اعلام همبستگی با مردم و جنبش‌های مسالمت‌آمیز برای آزادی و دموکراسی و اعمال فشار بر نهادهای ملی و اروپایی برای اتخاذ موضعی روشن، منسجم و عملی است. او در پایان تاکید کرد که هرچند سهم هر شهر به تنهایی محدود است، اما اتحاد صداها پیام قدرتمندی می‌سازد و نشان می‌دهد مردم ایران در مبارزه علیه اعدام، سرکوب و نقض حقوق بنیادین تنها نیستند. Thank you, Marta. Our next speaker is Luca Polita, a lawyer and president of the City Council of Jesi, Italy. Dear Luca, you have the floor for the next 5 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, dear friends, first of all, I would like to thank you for the invitation and for the opportunity to share with you some brief reflection and opinions. In the West, we are all concerned about the situation in your country, in Iran. It hurts to know that thousands of protesters are dying, above all the young people. I strongly condemn the regime brutal repression against the people. This is never the right response. The opposition in Iran must remain united, putting aside the personal ambition and the difference, and work with the international community to the aim to change the regime. We, as institutional representative, like me, like Marta from Fabriano, must ask to our government to put pressure to the Iranian regime and demand an immediate end to the violence. A few months ago in my city, in Jesi, we granted the honorary citizenship to 3 Iranian girls sentenced due to their opinions. The goal is to stop the execution and to save their lives. I know it's not enough, but it's just what we can do in our position. For this action, I would like to thank my colleague Maurizio Bregallini and Anaita, who brought this issue to the attention of the City Council. Another important issue is that the Iranian community living in the West must count on the local institution, and in our small way is that we are trying to give an help. We are willing to help the Iranian people who lives in our cities. Good luck for your wonderful country and for your wonderful people.
Thank you, Luca, and I appreciate your being a voice of Iranian people. Thank you. لوکا پولیتا، حقوقدان و رئیس شورای شهر یزی ایتالیا. پیش از هر چیز مایلم از شما به خاطر دعوت و فرصتی که برای به اشتراک گذاشتن چند تأمل کوتاه با من فراهم کردید صمیمانه تشکر کنم. در غرب همه ما نگران وضعیت ایران هستیم. دردناک است که بدانیم هزاران معترض به ویژه جوانان جان خود را از دست می‌دهند. من به شدت سرکوب وحشیانه مردم توسط رژیم را محکوم می‌کنم. این هرگز پاسخ درستی نیست. اپوزیسیون باید متحد بماند و اختلافات و جاه طلبی‌های شخصی را کنار بگذارد. ما به عنوان نمایندگان نهادهای رسمی باید صدای خود را بلند کنیم و از دولت‌های خود بخواهیم بر رژیم ایران فشار بیاورند و خواستار پایان فوری خشونت‌ها شوند. چند ماه پیش ما در شهر یزی شهروندی افتخاری را به 3 دختر ایرانی که به دلایل سیاسی به اعدام محکوم شده بودند اعطا کردیم. هدف از این اقدام متوقف کردن اعدام هاست. موضوع دیگر این است که جامعه ایرانی ساکن در غرب باید بتواند روی نهادهای محلی حساب کند. ما هرچه در توان خود داریم در کنار شما هستیم و با شما خواهیم بود. برای مردم شگفت انگیز ایران و کشور زیبای شما آرزوی موفقیت دارم. Thank you, Luca, again. Our next speaker is François Béchillot, advisor and deputy mayor of Paris's 19th district. Dear Béchillot, the microphone is yours for the next 5 minutes. Thank you.
Le son. Ok. Bonsoir. Good evening, dear friends. Malgré la situation dramatique qui touche aujourd'hui le peuple iranien, malgré les dizaines de milliers de morts, les souffrances endurées, je suis heureux malgré tout de participer ce soir de Paris à ce webinaire de soutien au peuple iranien, tout particulièrement pour dire non aux exécutions qui pourraient hélas survenir rapidement si la communauté internationale devait oublier une nouvelle fois ce qui s'y est passé ces dernières semaines partout en Iran. Je m'exprime ce soir en ma qualité d'élu parisien, conseiller de Paris, conseiller à la métropole du Grand Paris, et bien entendu et avant tout en ma qualité de soutien sans faille et depuis toujours à la juste cause du peuple iranien dans sa quête de démocratie et de liberté. Cette quête de démocratie et de liberté, nous la soutenons depuis 1979, date de cette sinistre révolution islamique qui a hélas conduit les mollahs au pouvoir, ces criminels islamistes qui tuent et assassinent le peuple iranien depuis 47 ans, qui volent les richesses du pays et empêchent l'économie de prospérer. Ce régime iranien que j'ai toujours eu pour ma part du mal à qualifier de République islamique d'Iran, depuis 2022, j'ai toujours dit qu'il était bien trop élogieux pour les mollahs qui l'ont construit de le qualifier ainsi. Pour moi, la chute du régime exige que nous la qualifions de dictature islamiste, ce qu'il est réellement. La République d'Iran reste à construire. Je souhaite de tout cœur qu'elle puisse enfin voir le jour demain. Je la souhaite indépendante, libre, laïque, démocratique. Mais ce n'est pas à moi, élu français, d'en décider, c'est au peuple iranien de choisir sa voie et de construire l'Iran de demain. Cette quête de démocratie et de liberté pour l'Iran de demain, elle va de pair avec le combat que nous menons contre la peine de mort et les exécutions menées par le régime iranien contre toutes celles et ceux qui ont osé s'opposer à lui. Combien de jeunes sont-ils tombés, pendus pour s'être opposés au régime? Des jeunes dont nous avons porté la voix haut et fort à l'international pour tenter de les sauver. Des exécutions qui révèlent bien, hélas, s'il en était besoin, la barbarie et la cruauté du régime iranien d'aujourd'hui. Depuis septembre 2022, après la mort de la jeune Gina Mahsa Amini, tuée par la police des mœurs de Téhéran juste parce qu'elle portait mal son voile, juste parce qu'elle souhaitait vivre librement, le chemin vers la liberté s'est élargi en Iran. Il a pris une toute autre ampleur ces dernières semaines. Ce chemin vers la liberté, c'est celui de la révolution Zandegi, Azadi, Jin, Jiyan, Azadi, que nous avons soutenu de toutes nos forces avec nos amis de la diaspora iranienne à Paris et partout en France. Nous avons marché chaque semaine dans les rues et nous avons crié au monde notre condamnation sans réserve du régime islamique, notre dénonciation sans réserve des exécutions. Nous avons tout fait pour tenter de sauver celles et ceux qui étaient condamnés à mort, celles et ceux qui souffraient de l'enfermement. C'est notre fermeté qui aidera le peuple iranien à chasser demain les mollahs du pouvoir en Iran. C'est la fermeté de la communauté internationale qui permettra de stopper les exécutions en Iran, aux condamnés à mort de vivre, aux portes des prisons de s'ouvrir, aux prisonniers politiques de sortir de leur geôle afin de pouvoir participer à la construction d'un autre avenir pour l'Iran. Aujourd'hui, après la révolte des commerçants, c'est toute la société iranienne qui s'est de nouveau enflammée pour poursuivre la révolution Femmes, Vie, Liberté, en suspens, et tenter d'avancer plus encore vers la liberté. Mais la réponse du pouvoir a été, nous le savons, des plus violentes, des plus meurtrières. Et ce n'est, hélas, pas terminé. Face au risque de condamnation à mort sans limite de demain, d'enfermement sans fin, de musellement de la pensée, les partisans des droits humains que nous sommes, de la démocratie et de la liberté, ont partout dans le monde une lourde responsabilité. Ils et nous devons agir avant tout pour que les exécutions cessent, que le régime iranien n'assassine plus sa jeunesse. Nous devons aussi et bien sûr agir pour aider le peuple iranien à se libérer de l'emprise de ses geôliers. Nous devons agir pour l'aider à avancer vers sa liberté. Il me semble nécessaire pour cela, mais ce n'est pas à moi d'en décider, d'isoler économiquement et diplomatiquement le régime des mots, bloquer les avoirs de ses militaires, de placer au banc de la société internationale toutes celles et ceux qui permettent aujourd'hui au régime iranien de tenir. Ainsi, ce régime ne pourra, selon moi, que s'effondrer. Depuis 2023, je demande au président Macron et à l'ensemble des dirigeants européens d'inscrire le corps des gardiens de la révolution islamique sur la liste des organisations terroristes. C'est avec fermeté que nous parviendrons, je l'espère, à faire cesser toutes les exécutions, libérer l'ensemble des prisonniers politiques iraniens, à faire chuter le régime des mollahs et à poursuivre ses dirigeants devant la Cour pénale internationale pour les crimes commis. Pour ma modeste part, je continuerai à condamner la peine de mort partout dans le monde et bien entendu en Iran, à œuvrer pour bloquer toutes les exécutions annoncées et à soutenir la juste cause du peuple iranien dans l'espoir que demain nous puissions fêter ensemble sur la place de la liberté à Téhéran et partout en Iran l'instauration d'une république d'Iran libre, laïque et démocratique. Zandegi, Azadi. Je vous remercie.
درود بر همه. من نوشین میرجلیلی ام، با مریم موسوی ما از پاریسیم و از گروه آزادانه که با هم دیگه در این زندگی آزادی آشنا شدیم و I just want to introduce François. Sorry, I switch in English. I'm Nushin Mirjalili with Mariam Moussavi. We had invited François Béchiot. François has always been with us in Paris since the Women Life Freedom Movement. We all met with Mariam and everybody else during the Women Life Freedom Movement, and François being the advisor and the deputy mayor of the 19th district in Paris. He has always been with us. He's participated in every single demonstrations we have had, and we've had cultural events, a lot of different awareness raising events, and François has always been there. And I let Mariam Moussavi to have a summary of what François said in English. Thank you.
Merci, Nushin Jan. Je vous remercie, Monsieur Béchiot. Hello, everyone. Good night.
Merci à vous.
Before I begin, I would like to just acknowledge the pain and loss we are witnessing and carrying together with our fellow Iranian, as well as the deep hope we hold for a free Iran. I would now like to share a short summary of Mr. Beshio's talk. Freedom for the Iranian people, women, life, freedom. We are witnessing tens of thousands of deaths and immense suffering in Iran. I speak tonight to support the Iranian people and to say no to executions, and to urge the international community not to forget what has occurred in recent weeks. Since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, the Iranian regime has oppressed, killed, and stolen from its people. I call it what it is, an Islamic dictatorship. The Iranian people must build a free, independent, secure, and democratic Iran. It is their choice. Since the death of Jina Mahsa Amini in 2022, the Women Life Freedom Revolution has grown and gained worldwide support. We have tried to save those condemned to death and imprisoned for opposing the regime. The international community must act with fairness to stop executions, release political prisoners, and help Iranians achieve freedom. Economic and diplomatic isolation of the regime, including freezing assets of its leaders, is necessary. Since 2023, I have asked President Macron and all European leaders to place the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps on the list of terrorist organizations. Only through decisive action can executions end, prisoners be freed, and the regime held accountable for its crimes. I will continue to oppose the death penalty, support the Iranian people, and hope that one day we can celebrate a free and democratic Iran. Zan, Zendegi, Azadi, woman, life, freedom. Merci. Je vous remercie encore, Monsieur Beshio. Merci. Thank you for your attention. Merci.
Thank you, Mariam. Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Salvatore Mara, Coordinator of European and International Policy at CGIL from Italy. Dear Salvatore, you have the floor for the next 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, dear Nazanin. And first of all, I'd like to acknowledge you for organizing this very important webinar tonight. And thank you on behalf of the Italian Trade Union Confederation of Labor. I bring you the solidarity of the 5 million workers who are members and affiliates of our trade union organization. This is the moment where we, all of us in Europe, and I join the voices of the policymakers from France and from Italy who have been speaking before myself, to say that it is the moment to give voice to the people in Iran who are losing their life and risking their own lives for the defense of democracy. Brave girls and brave young people and brave women, brave men who are taking the streets under the threat of violence, of death, and of course of the terrible violence of the regime of Khomeini. We are living a very difficult moment around the globe at the moment. The revolution in Iran is happening in a very difficult context. We have the impression that there's a few billionaires around the world who are trying to organize a global coup d'etat. Everything that matters to them is, of course, not the rights and the freedom of people, but their own economic interest. This is something we need to stop globally in solidarity with the people of Iran, because democracy is seriously under threat and the international law is being constantly violated. This is why I am very happy to tell you that also the International Trade Union Confederation took a very clear position to condemn the violence and the mass killings that are happening at the moment in Iran. And this is very important because this is the first time that this happens after a few years. We are asking the international organizations to severely punish the regime in Iran and stop all diplomatic activity with them. Dictatorships and the trade union rights cannot coexist. This happened in many countries around the world, and it is the case of Iran, where a lot of colleagues from the trade unions are being imprisoned at the moment, or are still have been also unfortunately killed by the dictators in Iran. So we strongly condemn these heavy violations, and our thoughts and our prayers go to the people and the families of the people who lost their lives. This is why we in democratic Europe have even more responsibility to say that we need to stop the killings and the death penalty immediately in Iran. What do we demand? We demand immediate end of repression against the social activists, against trade unions, and against the civic mobilization. We demand freedom of assembly and freedom of organization. We demand the release of all those detained for exercising their fundamental human rights. We demand the full respect of the Iranian institutions to the international commitments regarding human and trade union freedoms. And of course, we demand the immediate cessation of the executions and the abolition of the death penalty. I will conclude by saying that we have been steadily together with the Iranian people in the streets of Europe. Even in Rome a few days ago, a big rally happening here with lots of people supporting the cause of Iranian people, and we will keep being mobilized as we have been in the past. Jin Jian Azadi. Thank you so much.
Really appreciate your support, dear Salvatore. Thank you so much. سمن جون میتونی ترجمه رو الان بگید؟
درود به همه عزیزان. ببخشید به خاطر صدای من. آقای سالواتور مارا هماهنگ کننده سیاست‌های اروپایی و بین المللی در کنفدراسیون عمومی کار ایتالیا هستند. ایشون در اولین باری که شروع کردند، یه لحظه ببخشید من صدام داره میاد.
عزیزم صدای شما رو داریم. الان میوت کردی خودتو.
بله ببخشید. نماینده اتحادیه کارگری ایتالیا هستند که نمایندگی 5 میلیون کارگر رو از در واقع با مردم ایران همبستگی خودشون رو اعلام کردن و تاکید داشتند که الان زمان این هستش که صدای مردم ایران برای دموکراسی، برای نجات جانشون و همینطور شرایطی که داشتن به خطر افتاده در واقع به کمک تمام اروپاییان نیازمندن و تمام دنیا، به ویژه زنان و جوانانی که با تهدید به خشونت و مرگ باعث شدن که جان خودشون رو از دست بدن و به خیابون اومدن. آقای سالواتوره گفتن که انقلاب ایران در شرایطی بسیار سختی از جهان در واقع رخ داده که در اون منافع اقتصادی بسیاری از ثروتمندان و حقوق بشر و غیره ترجیح داده شده و دموکراسی و قوانین بین المللی به صورت کلی در خطر هستش. کنفدراسیون بین المللی اتحادیه کارگری در واقع به طور رسمی خشونت‌ها و کشتارهایی که در ایران اتفاق افتاده در زمان حال حاضر را محکوم کرده و خواستار چندین فکت مشخص شدن: مجازات‌های شدید رژیم ایران در سطح بین‌المللی، توقف روابطشون از نظر روابط دیپلماتیکی، پایان سرکوب به فعالان اجتماعی و مردمی که در خیابان‌ها هستن و برای ساده‌ترین رایت‌های خودشون می‌جنگن، آزادی و تجمع تشکیل‌های راحت داشته باشن و توقف فوری اعدام‌ها و لغو مجازات‌های مرگ برای تمامی مردم. ایشون در نهایت هم تاکید کردند که اتحادیه کارگری اروپا در تظاهرات‌های مختلف از جمله روم که در نهایت منشن کردن در کنار مردم ایران بوده و همچنان در نهایت در کنار مردم خواهند بود تا ابد. و در نهایت هم کردن زن، زندگی، آزادی. ممنون.
Our next speaker is Francesco Spinozzi, member of the Peace School of the City of Senegalia. Dear Francesco, you have the floor for the next 5 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the invitation. So I am a member of the School of Peace Vincenzo Buccelletti of the municipality of Senigallia, a medium town very close to Iesi and Fabriano. I wish to say that the School of Peace is an autonomous institution which is recognized by the municipality. It has been present in our town since 1993, so for more than 30 years. It has brought together groups, associations, and also just individuals who believe that peace, human rights, and non-violence must be defended not only in words, but also through action in public spaces and through education. And last Saturday, January 17, we gathered in one of the most crowded squares of our town for a solidarity vigil with the Iranian people, standing alongside the Iranian women and men who live in the surrounding area and who carry this struggle in their own lives. And in the face of the ongoing repression, we felt we could not remain silent. And as a School of Peace, with many decades of commitment behind us, we choose to write a letter to the Iranian ambassador to Italy to demand the end of the violence against those who are peacefully protesting, the immediate release of all political prisoners, and the opening of a true process of democratization. So now I will read to you the letter that we sent to the Italian ambassador. Dear Ambassador Mohamed Reza Saburi, the School of Peace Vincenzo Buccelletti of the municipality of Senigallia, founded to promote a culture of peace, human rights, and non-violence, addresses this open letter to you with deep concern and sincere respect for the Iranian people, to whom we feel bound by friendship and solidarity. For weeks now, alarming reports have been reaching us about the repression of peaceful demonstrations taking place across Iran. Thousands of young people, women and men, students, workers are calling for freedom, social justice, civil rights, and the secular nature of the institutions. These demands, which belongs to the dignity of every human being, are being met with violence, mass arrests, the isolation of the country through the shutdown of the internet access, and the number of victims that, according to independent sources, may be extremely high. Killing those who protest is not only inhumane, it is futile. Those who thirst for freedom are prepared to face even the risk of their own lives, because freedom is a fundamental right of every human being. Repression does not extinguish this aspiration, it only makes it more painful. As a school of peace, inspired by the active nonviolence and by the right of peoples to self-determination, we firmly affirm that the future of Iran belongs to its people and to them alone. We condemn all forms of internal repression and at the same time reject any external armed intervention that, without being requested by the people concerned, seeks to impose a solution through the use of force. The words woman, life, freedom, which today echo in Iran squares are not only ideological slogan, but the expression of a profound demand for human dignity, justice, and the future. They speak to everyone behind the national and cultural boundaries because they evoke universal values that no power can suppress. We ask you, Ambassador, to convey to your government a simple and urgent message. Stop the killing of demonstrators, stop repression, and ensure the immediate release of all political prisoners. Every woman and every man who struggles, suffers, or dies for freedom is a sister and a brother to all those who, in every part of the world, continue to defend it in the name of peace and nonviolence, with institutional respect and a firm call for responsibility. School of Peace, Vincenzo Buccelletti, Senigallia.
Really
Thank you for your
appreciate-
attention.
Yeah, I appreciate all of your support and being the voice of Iranian people. فرانچسکو اسپیناسی از اعضای مدرسه صلح وابسته به شهرداری سنیگالیا هستند. از همبستگی این نهاد با مردم ایران سخن گفتند. مدرسه صلح بیش از 30 سال در زمینه صلح، حقوق بشر و عدم خشونت فعالیت داره. در تاریخ 17 ژانویه با برگزاری تجمع عمومی در کنار ایرانیان مقیم ایتالیا حمایت خود را از مبارزات مردم ایران اعلام کردند. در واکنش به سرکوب‌های ادامه‌دار، این نهاد با ارسال نامه‌ای به سفیر ایران محمدرضا صبوری در ایتالیا خواستار پایان دادن به خشونت علیه معترضان، آزادی فوری و بی‌قید شرط تمامی زندانیان سیاسی و آغاز یک روند واقعی گذار به دموکراسی شدند. و به گفته او آنچه امروز در ایران جریان دارد خیزشی غیر خشونت‌آمیز و برخواسته از جنبش زن، زندگی، آزادی برای عدالت، کرامت انسانی و دموکراسی است. Thank you, Francesco. Really appreciate it. Before we continue, let's take a moment to watch a short video. Bobak, can you please share the video with all of us?
No, it's not ready yet. Could you do it, like postpone it for 2 more speakers, please?
Sure, I can do that. Okay. Our next speaker is Masoud Arjang, Executive Vice President of the BC General Employees Union, BCGEU. He works as a social and outreach worker. In the 1980s, Masoud spent 3 years in prison in Iran, an experience that informs his lifelong commitment to justice and solidarity. جناب آقای مسعود ارژنگ معاون اجرایی اتحادیه کارکنان عمومی بریتیش کلمبیا هستند که به عنوان مددکار اجتماعی و مددکار میدانی فعالیت دارند. جناب آقای ارژنگ در دهه 1980 به مدت 3 سال در ایران زندانی بودند. تجربه‌ای که تعهد مادام‌العمر او به عدالت و همبستگی را شکل داده است. جناب آقای ارژنگ 5 دقیقه میکروفون در اختیار شماست. لطفاً بفرمایید.
Merci, Nazanin, and thank you, Nazanin, and thank you to all the organizers of this event. On behalf of 95,000 strong BCGU members in British Columbia, we stand in solidarity with the people of Iran. BCGU supports their struggle for freedom, equality, and prosperity. We condemn the violence and repression carried out by Iranian authorities against workers, trade unionists, protesters, and innocent people. BCGU stands with people of Iran in their struggle and fight for freedom, equality, and prosperity. Friends, thank you. Thank you for having me here. I also want to talk about one of the resolution that passed by BCGU in 2024. And this resolution will go to CLC, Canadian Labour Congress, in the month of May in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And in this resolution, which was based on the Women Life Freedom Movement, we are asking all the unions, human rights organizations, that they join us to expel Iran from CLC, from ILO, International Labor Organizations. And we believe, because of 45 years of systematic violation of human rights by the Islamic regime, and because thousands of people have been executed, tortured, and imprisoned by the Islamic regime, and because In September 2022, Islamic regime killed Mahsa Amini. For the following Deres Code and many others, we stand with the people of Iran, and we want to expel Iran from international labor organizations. Friend, this resolution will go to CLC, and I'm also asking every one of you that work through organizations, especially organizations that have access to international labor organizations or any other unions. Please come forward and work with Freedom Now, or also contacting me, and let's put all the forces together and expel Iran from ILO forever. And I think that would be a strong message to the Iranian regime, and also showing the support to the workers and trade unionists and activists in Iran that the Islamic regime has no place at ILO. Thank you for the time and solidarity, friends.
Thank you. And can you just really summarize and to Persian as well?
For sure. Thank you. مرسی. حتما. با تشکر از همگی شما از طرف 95,000 تا اعضای اتحادیه کارگران بخش خدمات عمومی در ایالت BC کانادا، ما تلاش و مبارزه مردم ایران برای آزادی، برابری و عزت و شرف رو باهاشون ازشون حمایت میکنیم و همینطور اقدامات دولت ایران در سرکوب و همینطور شکلی که از نیرویی که استفاده کردن توی سرکوب کارگران، فعالین کارگری، همینطور مردمی که هیچ گونه مردم بیگناهی که توی خیابون بودن، ما این حرکات رو از طرف دولت ایران محکوم میکنیم و BCGU با مردم ایران در حمایت مردم ایران خواهد بود. همینطور در سال 2024 BCGU در کنوانسیونی که داشت قطعنامه‌ای صادر کرد که خواهان اخراج جمهوری اسلامی از سازمان جهانی کار شده و من از اینجا خواستم از یکایک شماهایی که درگیر هستید و یا به نوعی با سازمان‌های کارگری کار میکنید تماس بگیرید و بتونیم با هم دیگه و تماس با من بگیرید یا با سازمان فریدم نا که بتونیم نیرومون رو با هم دیگه یکی کنیم که بتونیم جمهوری اسلامی رو برای همیشه از سازمان جهانی کار بندازیم بیرون. دوستان، رفقا، تشکر میکنم از این برنامه‌ای که گذاشتید. زنده باد و همبستگی. نازنین جان، get the mic please.
بله، ببخشید. ممنونم از شما. برای پخش ویدیو آماده این. ممنون.
Ich sehe Gesichter in der Dunkelheit, Augen voller Angst und doch bereit. Menschen gehen raus, sie wollen nur ihr Recht, doch die Antwort ist zu oft so ungerecht. Sie stehen da mit leeren Händen und trotzdem brennt in ihnen Mut und jeder Schritt ist wie ein Schwur. Wir geben nicht auf, wir bleiben gut. Und wenn man eure Worte sperrt, wenn man das Internet euch wegnimmt, dann schreit die Hoffnung durch die Straßen, weil man euch niemals ganz verstummt. Iran, ich trag dich in meinem Herzen, auch wenn die Welt grad wegschaut, auch wenn es weh tut. Eure Stimmen sind stärker als Mauern, stärker als Angst, stärker als Blut. Iran, du bist mehr als nur Tränen, mehr als nur Kampf, mehr als nur Schmerz, denn in jedem Kind und jeder Seele schlägt Freiheit im Herzen bin. Ich kenn das Gefühl, wenn Heimat brennt, wenn man sich selbst kaum wiedererkennt, wenn Freunde verschwinden, keiner sagt warum, und trotzdem bleibt die Liebe nicht stumm. Denn in Teheran und in jedem Ort lebt ein Traum, der niemals stirbt. Und auch wenn man euch die Stimme nimmt, die Wahrheit bleibt und sie gewinnt. Und wenn die Nacht noch so kalt ist, kommt irgendwann der Morgen zurück. Denn echte Hoffnung kann man nicht töten.
Babak John, please.
Babak John, you just shared the Telegram, so it was just a song. And
Okay.
there is another video that Anahita shared that asking for human rights. I was asking to show that one, so we can just continue when we
Okay,
just
go ahead.
find other videos, so we can share that one. Anahita, if you can just send it to Babak, that video, that would be great. Thank you. Our next speaker is Patty Debonitas, a human rights and secular rights activist associated with Iran Solidarity UK and related international campaign for human rights, secularism, and equality. Dear Patty, you have the floor for the next 5 minutes. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Patty Debonitas. I'm spokesperson of Iran Solidarity. Thank you for inviting me to speak, and thank you for organizing this really needed webinar. And I'm very happy to see so many people sharing our ambition to support people in Iran and the heart of truly the people in Iran. Iran Solidarity was founded when the Iranian people broke up in 2009 and we have been standing in solidarity ever since with them. And you might also remember that in 2010 there was someone sentenced to death by stone in Iran, and Iran Solidarity was suddenly in Iran.
Sorry, dear Patty, we have a little problem to hear you.
Okay, hang on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, not yet.
No, not yet. Hang on. I don't know. Is this better?
Your Patty, dear Patty, your voice is like cutting. If you have like in the speaker, or your headphones, that would be great.
Sorry.
No, we can't hear you now. I think no. So, Patty, if you need more time, I'll go and ask another speaker to start, so you can just take a moment. Talk a little. We can hear you. Yep, that's totally fine. Just take your time. I'm just going to another speaker and we'll be back to you again. Perfect, thank you. Our next speaker is Gabi Ohl, representing the German coalition to abolish the death penalty. Dear Gabi, you have the floor for the next 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me tonight or today. My name is Gabi Ohl. I belong to the German coalition to abolish the death penalty. We are a small association here in Germany with about 100 volunteers living all across the country, and some even in Austria and Switzerland. We oppose the death penalty worldwide in every case, in all cases. But in the 25 years we exist, we always had a special focus on the United States. But since we befriended with Şöyle Pakravan, we also have a focus now on Iran, and members of our association participate in demonstrations or events in various cities here in Germany. We are shocked. We are speechless. We are angry and sad, and it's hard to describe what we feel about what recently in the Iran happened. All the many dead people, that's horrible. And I would like to assure you all of our solidarity, of our respect for the brave people of Iran. And we do hope for your people, for democracy, for freedom, for peace. And on the other hand, we are afraid that after these horrible days, nothing might change, but we do hope it will. And we call for governments and economy in Germany and also all over the world that they do what they can to change things in Iran and help change things there. I often feel helpless, powerless, because there's not much we can do. But what we can do, we try. For example, I personally myself, I, together with 2 colleagues and members of our associations, we do public readings here in Germany for people and telling them the story of Rehane Jabari as one example for the things that happen in Iran, just to make people aware of that. Our sincere hope and solidarity is with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gabi. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate it. Dear Saman, can you translate it?
Sure. So خانم گبی اول از ائتلاف آلمان برای لغو مجازات اعدام ایشون فرمودن که ائتلاف‌های آلمان برای لغو از طرف ائتلاف آلمان برای لغو مجازات ها هستند. یک گروه کوچیک داوطلبانه هستش که با هم در همه جای دنیا در حال کار هستند. در تمرکز اصلی اونها در این سالهای اخیر روی آمریکا بوده، اما به دلیل ارتباطایی که دارن در حال حاضر با خانواده‌های قربانیان و پرونده‌هایی مثل خانم ریحانه جباری تمرکز بیشتری و ویژه‌ای روی ایران پیدا کردن چند وقت اخیر. همچنین گفتن که اخیراً اتفاقاتی که در ایران داره رخ میده بسیار شوکه کننده، خشمگین و اندوهگین هستن به خاطر این داستان و از کشتار مردم براشون غیر قابل تحمل هستش. ایشون همبستگی و احترام خودشون رو با تمام مردم شجاع ایران اعلام کردن و براشون آرزوی آزادی و دموکراسی و صلح کردن و همچنین در این حال نگران هستند که همه این خشونت هایی که اتفاق میفته ممکنه که هیچ تغییری درونش اتفاق نیفته در نهایت، ولی هنوز امیدوار هستند. با وجود همه اینها یک احساس در واقع با همه وجودهای احساس ناتوانی که دارند، آنچه که دستشون برمیاد در زمان حال حاضر رو تماما انجام خواهند داد و مثل برگزاری های یه سری برنامه های عمومی و روایت در واقع داستان قربانیانی که در این چند وقت اخیر و حتی قبلتر از دست رفتن رو برای آگاهی سازی مردم بیان میکنن و در نهایت هم تاکید کردن که همیشه همبستگی خودشون رو با مردم ایران دارن و همیشه امید داشته باشید. ممنون.
با سپاس سمن جان. Our next speaker is کاوه شهروز, a human rights lawyer and activist. مهمان بعدی ما جناب آقای کاوه شهروز, حقوقدان و فعال حقوق بشر هستند. جناب شهروز برای 5 دقیقه میکروفون در اختیار شما هست و لطف کنید بعد از اینکه به انگلیسی سخنرانیتون رو انجام دادین ترجمه فارسی اون رو هم به اختصار بفرمایید.
چشم حتما. Good evening or good morning, everybody, depending on where you are. It's really wonderful to be here. I'm grateful to my friend Babak Yazdi for the invitation. I want to just start, as a lot of others have done, expressing my solidarity with Iran's brave protesters and saying that I stand with them, and I'm sure all of you do as well. I had prepared some remarks about R2P, or responsibility to protect, and I'm going to sort of stick to them. I know before I joined the call, Babak mentioned that I believe another earlier speaker had talked about the same. So I apologize if I'm going over material that's already been covered. I speak as a lawyer who believes the law matters when it protects people when they need it most, and as a person that's spent a career confronting the consequences of sovereign power that's unchecked by law. The responsibility to protect, or R2P, is often misunderstood. Some people dismiss it as empty language. Others fear that it's an excuse for powerful countries to intervene where they shouldn't. But in truth, R2P exists because the world has failed, sometimes spectacularly, in cases where mass killing was clearly coming and failed again when people were being slaughtered. So governments around the world came together in 2005 and they came up with this doctrine that states have to protect their people from genocide, from war crimes, ethnic cleansing, and crimes against humanity. And they agree that this has to be done collectively in a decisive manner when national authorities are manifestly unable to do so. The core ideas of responsibility to protect are that governments have to protect their own people, that the international community should step in to help prevent harm, and that when people are being killed and when peaceful measures fail, the international community has to respond together in line with international law. And that response can include sanctions, it can include investigations, and in some extreme cases, force. R2P is not a call for reckless war. It's a call for action when inaction costs lives. Now, R2P hasn't always had a spotless record. It has been employed in places like Libya, where it actually led to disaster. And it hasn't been used in places where it really ought to have been used, like in Syria, where vetoes at the United Nations prevented international action and atrocities continued. And there is always a fear, a reasonable fear, I think, among activists that powerful states are going to use the language of human rights to justify violence of their own, that stronger countries are simply going to attack weaker ones on false pretexts. And that fear is justified. But I think it also provides us with a strong tool when the situation is dire. And that's where we turn to when we talk about Iran. We have seen in the past few weeks widespread and organized violence, unprecedented levels of violence by Iranian security forces against protesters. People have been shot, they've been killed, they've been disappeared, they've been tortured, and I fear that many, many more executions are now to come. You've all seen the videos. I don't need to prove this to you, and I don't need to make the case to any of you that this constitutes crimes against humanity. I think it's patently obvious to anyone that has spent any time online watching what has been happening. So responsibility to protect in this situation doesn't require that we wait until every last person is killed, until every last grave is counted. It requires that we consider the credible risks and the clear failure by the Islamic regime to protect their people, not only their failure, but their active participation, their active leading of the killing of Iranian people. So responsibility to protect at that point points towards action. But here it's where we confront a problem. The mechanism for a truly legal UN authorized action is tied up at the United Nations. And when the international community calls for violence to stop and it hasn't stopped, and when it uses all the other mechanisms, it has to go to the UN Security Council and seek approval for some sort of intervention, perhaps a military intervention. And that's where I think Russian and Chinese vetoes will kill any hope for a fully legitimate global intervention. And I think here that we can look to states outside the UN Security Council, perhaps the United States, perhaps Israel, to intervene very narrowly to stop the slaughter. And I know, and I share your concern about this. I'm under no illusions that the US and Israel are interested in protecting human rights in Iran. So I don't think we as a civil society should endorse everything that they may do under the doctrine of responsibility to protect. But as a civil society, I think we should demand that if they are going to act, they should act in a very narrow way. They should cripple the regime's repressive apparatus. That might mean cyber warfare that prevents the regime from engaging in further surveillance. It may involve very narrow attacks on IRGC and intelligence ministry headquarters to prevent them from further killing, and it may involve targeted assassinations of regime officials. In every case, our demand has to be for any such attack to be focused on preventing the continued killing of civilians by the regime, and for these attacks to minimize to the extent possible civilian casualties. This is a very, very tough call, but I think we're in unprecedented times and responsibility to protect is called for. I think this is really what woman life freedom requires. اگه اجازه بدین بابک جان، من فقط
حتما بفرمایید.
با اجازهتون من فقط این به صورت خیلی خلاصه بگم که اصل responsibility to protect، مسئولیت حمایت، به ما نشون میده از سال 2005 به بعد این اصل در قانون بین‌الملل قبول شده و میگه که حاکمیت قدرت مطلق نیست. جامعه جهانی هم مسئوله که در بعضی موارد وارد عمل بشه. اصل مسئولیت حمایت همیشه متاسفانه موفق نبوده. در لیبی استفاده شد به وضع بدی، وضعیت هولناکی ایجاد کرد. در سوریه باید از این اصل استفاده میشد اما متاسفانه نشد و همیشه این نگرانی هست که این اصل بازیچه‌ای بشه برای کشورهای قوی علیه کشوران ضعیف. اما در مورد ایران به نظر من واضحه که به وضعیتی رسیدیم که دول خارجی باید جلوی کشتار رو بگیرند. اما طبعا روسیه و چین اجازه نمیدن که شورای امنیت سازمان ملل اجازه دخالت نظامی در ایران رو بده. اینجاست که به نظرم بد نباشه که ما فکر کنیم به وضعیت دخالت خارجی آمریکا و اسرائیل و احتمال اینکه اونا بتونن به ایران کمک کنن. البته من فکر نمی کنم که دولت آمریکا و دولت اسرائیل واقعا دنبال حمایت از مردم ایران باشن و وضعیت حقوق بشر ایران رو سعی کنن بهبود بدن. اما اگه قرار این حرکت رو بکنن و اگه قرار دخالت بکنن، به نظرم ما باید اصرار بر این بکنیم که حرکات نظامی آمریکا و اسرائیل محدود باشه و فقط به نیروهای سرکوبگر رژیم حمله بکنن. این ممکنه حمله سایبری باشه، ممکنه حمله به نقاطی باشه که سپاه یا وزارت اطلاعات بهشون دسترسی دارن و اون رو به عنوان مرکز استفاده میکنن برای سرکوب ملت. در حال حاضر نظر من اینه که این اصل مسئولیت حمایت رو ما باید روش تاکید بکنیم و باید فشار بذاریم روی دولت‌های خارجی که جلوی سرکوب و آدمکشی رژیم جمهوری اسلامی رو بگیرن. متشکرم از وقت.
واقعا ممنون از صحبتاتون جناب شهروز. با سپاس. Dear Patty, are you ready now to join us again? Patty?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, we can hear you.
It's better? Okay, I'm glad. I hope it stays like this. Hello, everyone. My name is Patty de Bonitas. I'm spokesperson of Iran Solidarity. Thank you for organizing this meeting. Thank you for inviting me. I'm very glad to see so many people that are standing in support with the people in Iran, and that also it's a varied type of conversations we are having here with different members, with unions and with local councils and lawyers. I think it's really needed, and I really, it's really heartwarming to see that. Iran Solidarity was founded in 2009 in response to the uprising of the Iranian people against the regime in 2009. And we have been standing in support and solidarity And you might remember in 2010, Sakina Ashtiani, an Iranian woman, was sentenced to death by stoning. There was a very big campaign in support of her against her stoning sentence. Iran Solidarity was heavily involved, but there were so many other organizations and people around the world in the end that were fighting literally for her life and against her stoning sentence. And the people did it. An international network of solidarity and support stopped Sakina Ashtiani from being stoned to death. She remained for a while in prison, but she was freed. And I think we should always remember what people can do in these times. And of course, getting support for the people in Iran to overthrow the Islamic regime is a tall number. But I think with all these bad news coming out of Iran, with the internet opening up and we hear more and more, this is a time to really galvanize the support that I think most of the people around the world feel. They've always been interested, and they're interested what is happening with the people in Iran in their struggle against the Islamic regime. So I think it is important now that we create a tsunami of humanity and solidarity with the people in Iran so that they can wash away the Islamic regime. And I salute the different people who have already spoken and their actions, like the local councils, because I think it's coming from there. It's a bottom-up thing. We have seen how the governments are reluctant to really put distinct action into place. And I've been a couple of days ago to a session in the Swedish parliament. The foreign minister of Sweden was there, and several political parties in the Swedish government, they were discussing putting the IRCG on the terror list and also generally about supporting people in Iran. And they were all united. And I think the tide is turning. And I hope we can work together to support the people in Iran. I salute the courageous people of Iran. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it, Patty. سمن جون میتونید ترجمه رو به صورت خلاصه بفرمایید.
بله بله. خانم پری دیوتیناس یک فعال حقوق بشر و حقوق سکولار هستند که با گروه ایرانیان سولیداریتی بریتانیا و کارگزارهای بین‌المللی مرتبط در زمینه حقوق بشر، سکولاریسم و برابری همکاری دارند. ایشون یه لحظه ببخشید.
Get the mic. You're muted.
You're muted now.
ببخشید. ایشون سخنگوی در ابتدای صحبت‌های خودشون گفتن که از سخنگویان سازمان ملل سازمان ایرانیان سولیداریتی هستن و بعد در واقع از قیام سال 2009 در ایران تشکیل شدن و همزمان با حمایت‌هایی که در مردم ایران داشتن فعالیت می‌کردن در ایران. همچنین مثال زدن که تو سال 2010 با کمپین جهانی برای سنگسار خانم سکینه آشتیانی همکاری کامل داشتن و متوقف کردن و این نشون داده که همبستگی بین المللی میتونه جان انسانهایی رو که همانند خانم سکینه آشتیانی رو تو ایران نجات بده. ایشون گفتن که با وجود اخبارهایی که تو ایران در حال حاضر هستش، حمایت جهانی را برای مردم ایران خواستارن و نیازمند یک برنامه‌های سازمان یافته‌تر و گسترده‌تر هستش و یک موج در واقع انسانی و همبستگی باید حتما شکل بگیره تا به در واقع سرنگونی و گذارات جمهوری اسلامی کمک بکنه و اتفاق بیفته. و همچنین تاکید کردن که این حرکت باید از در واقع ریشه و پایه مردم و شوراهای محلی شروع بشه و چون دولت‌ها معمولاً خیلی یواشتر و کندتر پیش میرن و محتاط‌تر هستن. همچنین اشاره کردم به جلسه پارلمان سوئد که درباره قرار دادن در واقع سپاه در لیست تروریستی و حمایت کردن از مردم ایران که تصویب شد و در فهرست تروریستی قرار گرفت و مردم ایران رو ساپورت کردن، بحث کردن و گفتن که نشانه هایی هستش که تغییر فضاهایی در سیاست های بین المللی دیده میشه و همچنین در آخر هم از شجاعت های مردم ایران و بسیار تقدیر کردن و باز امیدواری کردن که این همکاری جهانی برای حمایت از مردم ایران هرچه سریعتر اتفاق بیفته، گسترده تر بشه و ادامه پیدا کنه.
سپاس. Our next speaker is Julio Rodriguez from the United Left Party of Spain. Dear Julio, you have the floor for the next 5 minutes. Thank you.
Good evening to everybody. I have to apologize because my awful English, I prefer to speak in Spanish, and at the same time, my colleague here in Spain, my comrade, Hamid Hosseini, is going to translate me to Farsi, okay? It's okay for everybody?
Yep, sure, thank you.
Muy bien. Bueno, lo primero que debo aclarar, yo no hablo en nombre de la Izquierda Unida de España, aunque sí que voy a decir unas palabras que ha dicho el secretario general del Partido Comunista de España. Yo aquí represento a una pequeña asociación por la paz y por los derechos humanos que se llama Paz Ahora, Peace Now in English, ¿ok? Hamid, ¿ayuda?
Sí, sí.
Okay.
Por favor, ¿me permitís traducirlo? Soy Hamid Hosseini de España. Buenas noches. Que Julio Rodríguez en nombre از طرف انجمن
حمید جان به فارسی ترجمه کن.
به فارسی دارم ترجمه میکنم.
آقای حمید اگر لطف کنید بذارید کامل سخنرانیشون رو انجام بدن و شما بعد برای ما ترجمه کنید بسیار خوب میشه. ممنون میشم.
باشه. Julio, por favor, tú hablas todo lo que quieras decir y luego yo traduzco.
Perfecto, bien, era para que fuera más breve, vale. Lo primero, sí, ya que digo, yo no represento ni Izquierda Unida de España ni al Partido Comunista de España, pero sí quiero leer las declaraciones que ha hecho el secretario general del Partido Comunista de España, que se llama Enrique Santiago, que además es miembro del Parlamento español y además representa en el Parlamento a este partido, no solo al Partido Comunista, sino también a Izquierda Unida. Y voy a leer textual, Dice Enrique Santiago: nuestro apoyo al levantamiento popular contra el régimen teocrático iraní. Creemos que Irán no puede volver ni debe volver a la monarquía, ni tampoco debe volver a un gobierno pro Estados Unidos que esté manejado por Israel. Consideramos que Irán necesita un gobierno de izquierdas. Estas son las declaraciones del secretario general del Partido Comunista y, ya digo, miembro del Parlamento en nombre de Izquierda Unida. Ahora lo que voy a mencionar para dejar clara mi postura personal y de mi asociación es dos titulares del periódico de la semana pasada, que yo creo que son absolutamente significativos del momento en que está ahora mismo el proceso en Irán y por qué ya no hay, o no aparece al menos en la prensa, la represión que había las semanas anteriores, ¿no? Mirad, el viernes 16 de enero, y lo hicimos, encontramos este titular siguiendo esto que se llama Siguiendo la pista del dinero. Siguiendo la pista del dinero, miramos lo que se decía en Irán desde la prensa económica, no desde la prensa de información general. Y el titular que encontramos en uno de los periódicos económicos en España es el siguiente: viernes 16 de enero de 2026, el viernes pasado. El precio del petróleo registra fuertes caídas este jueves después de que el presidente Trump señalara que podría evitarse una eventual acción militar contra Irán. Es decir, la prensa económica del viernes 16 dice que el jueves ya baja el precio del petróleo después de que Trump haya dicho que no va a haber una intervención militar. En todo caso, no la ha habido y estamos una semana más tarde. El día siguiente, sábado 17 de enero, aquí sí leemos una información de la agencia de prensa más importante de España, se llama la agencia EFE, dice textual también, el líder supremo de Irán, Ali Khamenei, ha afirmado este sábado, 17 de enero, que textualmente, cita textualmente, entre comillas, varios miles de personas han muerto en las protestas de las que responsabiliza al presidente de Estados Unidos. Lo que interpretamos, o interpreto yo y mis colegas de estos dos titulares, es que el jueves de la semana pasada ya los mercados, esto que llaman los mercados, que son realmente los que conocen cuál es la situación mundial, los mercados habían decidido bajar el precio del petróleo. Había empezado a bajar el jueves y esta noticia el viernes ya es noticia que el petróleo empezó a bajar y los que interpretan, la prensa económica que interpreta a esos mercados, llega a la conclusión de que esta bajada de los precios del petróleo se debe a que el Donald Trump ha dicho que ya no va a haber textualmente también, una eventual acción militar contra Irán. Al día siguiente, al menos al día siguiente en la prensa española, el líder Ali Khamenei dice que varios miles de personas han muerto en las protestas. Cuando el líder reconoce esto es porque ha habido, entendemos, que algún acuerdo con los Estados Unidos.
جناب امیرعلی بفرمایید برای ترجمه.
پس من یه خیلی مختصر بیان میکنم صحبت‌های خولیو رودریگز، پرزیدنت انجمن صلح همین الان که معمولا دفاع میکنن از صلح به طور مشخص در فلسطین و همچنین هر جایی که جنگی جریان داره. به طور مشخص گفتش که انریکه سانتیاگو، نماینده پارلمان اروپا، ابریکول لزو کمونیست اسپانیا و همچنین از نماینده سومار در مجلس اعلام کرده که از مبارزات مردم ایران علیه تئوکراسی حاکم حمایت میکنن، سرکوب ها رو محکوم میکنن و اعلام میکنن که هیچ گونه دخالت نظامی خارجی چه از جانب آمریکا و چه از جانب اسرائیل در داخل ایران پذیرفته نیست و مردم ایران خودشون باید راه آیندهشون انتخاب کنن. البته ما اطمینان داریم که به سوی بازگشت سلطنت نخواهد بود و همچنین اعلام میکنه که با توافقی که شاید به احتمالاً بین ترامپ و دولت جمهوری اسلامی ایران قرار گرفته، علیرغم کشمکش هایی که بینشون بوده که یک روز ترامپ گفته که حمله نظامی میکنه به ایران و روز دیگه انکار کرده و روزی که اعلام کرد که حمله نظامی به ایران رو انجام نخواهد داد، قیمت نفت در بازارهای جهانی کاهش پیدا کرده و خامنه‌ای هم همون روز اعلام کرد که در تظاهرات اعتراضی مردم ایران علیه جمهوری اسلامی هزاران نفر کشته شدند. این به معنای اینه که هزاران نفر در مبارزه علیه تئوکراسی توسط رژیم به قتل رسیدن و محکوم میکنه انجمن صلح همین الان و همچنین نیروهای دموکرات اسپانیایی از این مبارزات.
با سپاس جناب حمید. Thank you, Julio, for all the support and being the voice of Iranian people.
You are welcome.
Thank you. Dear Babak, if the video is ready, please share it with us.
مادر ایستاده بر آستانه در کهریزک با پیکرهای بیجان در برابرش و هزاران پرسش در ذهن. آخر چگونه توانست بر این همه امید و آرزو شلیک کنند؟ پس چگونه میتوانی چشمان کودکانتان نگاه کنید. آیا می توانید به آنها بگویید که پدرشان یک قاتل است؟
پدر و مادری پس از ساعتها جستجو پیکر جوان غرق به خون خود را در میان پیکرهای بیجان بسیار یافتند، اما برای تحویل آن باید پول تیر بدهند. 250 میلیون تومان برای هر گلوله که پیکر عزیزشان را دریده است. این عمل مصداق بارز جنایت علیه بشریت است.
در شهر جزمه تکیه به شب ایستاده است، هر گوشه قتلگاه سیاوش. افراسیاب مضطرب از تیغه های صبح در خلوت تباهی خود بانگ میزند. خورشید را به تیر، خورشید را به آتش و شمشیر. اینک صدای رویش گلبوته های صبح در انحنای قامت شب موج میزند.
ما از کمیته حقیقتیاب سازمان ملل می‌خواهیم تا برای بررسی قتل عام مردم ایران و جنایت علیه بشریت توسط جمهوری اسلامی به ایران بیاید.
زندانیان سیاسی ایران که حکم اعدام دارند در چنگال رژیمی اسیدند که برای ماندن در قدرت از انجام هر جنایتی رویگردان می‌ایستند. پیش از آنکه دیر شود صدایشون را در ابعاد جهانی بازتاب.
Thank you to everyone who participated in the video. It was powerful and delivered a clear message. Thank you. Our next speaker is Valerie Kruger from the International Society for Human Rights, Germany. Dear Valerie, you have the floor for the next 5 minutes. Thank you. Dear Valerie, are you here? If you are talking, you are muted.
I don't think Valerie is here. Nazanin, you can ask the next
I
one.
can see the Valerie in the name, so because of that, I'm just asking if she can join. Okay. So we are moving to our next guest. Our next guest is Shiva Mahboubi, spokeswoman for Campaign to Free Political Prisoners in Iran, CFPPI, women's rights activist, psychotherapist, former political prisoner. سخنگوی بعدی ما سرکار خانم شیوا محبوبی، سخنگوی کارزار آزادی زندانیان سیاسی در ایران CFPPI و فعال حقوق زنان، رواندرمانگر و زندانی سابق سیاسی. سرکار خانم محبوبی برای 5 دقیقه میکروفون در اختیار شماست و لطف کنید که ترجمه فارسی متن خودتون رو هم بفرمایید. با تشکر.
Hi everyone, thank you for having me. Just wanted to say, before I start talking about political prisoners, I mean, you have all the facts and figures. I just wanted to say, as a former political prisoners, and as someone who spent my teenage time in prison and fighting against the Islamic regime, it breaks my heart that 1 generation, 2 generations after me, they're still fighting and they still get killed and tortured. But at the same time, I feel honored and I feel so proud of people in Iran that after 47 years, they create almost impossible fight on the streets of Iran. So you have all the facts and figures. So I just wanted to say, when you see all these videos, the protest, you can get reports from maybe approximately how many people were killed or arrested. But unfortunately, there is no footage on what's going on in prison. So they have arrested tens of thousands. Our campaign to free political prisoners, we are in the process of compiling lists of those who've been arrested. It's an impossible task. We don't call it arrest or even detained. They have been kidnapped, they have been abducted. So therefore, all the known prisons are full of political prisoners and detainees. And most of those detainees, the recent detainees, they have been taken to unknown location, including what the IRGC, Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, they call it secret house or secure houses. So that's make it impossible to have an exact list of those people who've been detained. And the other news is that while we concentrating on all those who've been massacred, because I think what's going on in Iran is not a crackdown, it's a genocide. It's impossible to have 2 weeks of protest and have more than 30 people being killed. And but at the same times, when you 30,000 people, when you think about those people in prison, they speaking about executions, but you have to remember at this time that the Islamic regime has panicked. That's why actually they kill so many people. They execute detainees very secretly. One of the news is in city of Kermanshah, at least 100 bodies were taken to Imam Stadium, and they told the family to come and basically see if they can find a loved one. But the problem is that this is actually a secret execution they do. They believe that the eyewitnesses believe that these people are detainees that have been executed, and now they are among all other bodies because the Islamic regime, they do not want to say that we have executed the detainees. So 5 minutes is too short for me to explain to you what's happening in Iran. But I guess what I'm trying to do, what our campaign has been trying to do from the day one, to get attention from the international communities, governments, and the people to what's happening secretly. The political prisoners and the detainees are soon will be facing another massacre. It's not just that's the massacre on the streets, but in the prisons. And unfortunately, we don't have much of a news of them. Right now, we know that lots of there are. I mean, on Friday it was a Human Rights Council's emergency meetings, and we know 3 governments, Spain, Italy, and France, refusing to put IRGC on the list of terrorist organizations. And we need us, the international community, people around the world, to force these governments to take an action, not by putting people on sanction. That's ridiculous. It's not going to work. But put the Islamic regime on sanction, but actually for closing the embassies and also expelling the diplomats. I'm going to soon put a link in the text box, the text that you can click on it, go on our website and send a protest letter to your government, the foreign office of your government. And I think what is important among all this massacre, we have to remember the people are in Iran are among the most resilient one, to be honest. Right now, what the family do when they get the body of their loved one, they actually celebrate their life by dancing, by music, and that's amazing. The message is the message to the regime is that they haven't been able to kill people, to voice of resilience. And this is very important. So at the end, I wanted to say, I would ask any of you, each of you to go to your university, where you work or live, and actually force your government to put pressure on the regime to release all political prisoners and detainees. Let's not have the regime create another massacre inside prison as they did it in the 80s. So my email, I'll put my email as well. I'll be more than happy to provide you with more information and more tools and letters. It's because we need the international community. We cannot rely on the governments because they always look after their own interests. What we need, every single person of you and your friends who you work with and everyone else. That's how we can create international solidarity for people in Iran. Thank you.
ترجمه هم اگر لطف کنید سرکار خانم محبوب ممنون میشم.
ببخشید من سعی میکنم، معمولا نمی نویسمش، سعی میکنم بگم من
شما وقت هم دارین، فقط میخواستم بگم که وقت داریم. حالا اگر میخواین بیشتر هم به توضیحاتتون اضافه کنید ما وقت داریم الان.
به فارسی یا انگلیسی هر دوتاش؟
به هر کدوم که میدونید، چون شما الان مهمان آخر هستین و اگر صحبتی، چون خیلی صحبت خوب و به جایی بود و فکر میکنم اگر میخواین ادامه بدین میتونین که این کار رو انجام بدین.
آره مرسی. So thank you so much to the host that give me a bit more time. I think what I wanted to say, especially we have the privilege of having you guys from especially Italy and France among us and Germany. I think it's really important because you are here because you care about what's happening in Iran. And I think our campaign been trying really hard to draw the attention to the political prisoners. I want to say that there are two set of, I would say, political prisoners who've been in prison already and the detainees. So all of them are in danger. It doesn't matter if they're about to be released in the next day or two. What happened in the 80s, the regime massacred, as you know, thousands of political prisoners at once in 2-3 weeks. This could happen. Now, what we're hearing, really heartbreaking news from activists inside, from families that, for example, in the city of Karaj, families gathered in front of the public prosecutor's office for more than 17 days just to know where their loved one is. You have to remember, these people who get abducted, they have no access to family, they have no access to lawyers. Some of them are wounded. There are part of detainees, they haven't been detained. When they got basically injured, they've been kidnapped, their body, and they kept in prison. Some of them been given finishing shot, and some of them been just kept there without any medication, so they tortured them more. So when you think about detainees and political prisoners, you have to think about few categories. Those detainees who've been injured, those detainees who've been kidnapped, we don't know where they are, and also the political prisoners who are in danger of also being executed. So what I'm trying to say, I mean, recently they said that we're not going to give back the bodies of the women because apparently from what we hear that there is a possibility that their womb, part of their body being kind of taken out. So it's horrifying news. I guess what I'm trying to say, if you are in contact with your network, please contact us so we can provide you with all the information to highlight the situation of political prisoners. If you think about the mainstream media and the news, you do not hear about the detainees. You do not hear about political prisoners. Rightly, at this point, all the focus is on how many people were killed. But we need to draw their attention because if we don't, the Islamic regime, as always, uses this silence to kill more prisoners and the detainees. So this is important. Please contact us and please make sure you take that link that I'm about to put in the chat to send it to your networks, and we'll be happy to speak about the situation with your networks. And for those who are from Italy, Italian government refuses to put IRGC on the list of terrorist organization. Use your voice to force them to do that, to accept to put IRGC on the list of terrorist organization. People say that putting IRGC on the list of terrorist organization closing embassies, recalling their ambassadors from Iran will not going to have any effect. It does, because politically it does impact. They don't recognize the regime in that way. They're telling the regime that we do not legitimize you. So it's quite important. And just one thing I wanted to say, I think I'm going to switch to Farsi, so to take less time. So thank you. Please contact me. Please remember the political prisoners and their family. And one more thing, most of these detainees, their families are being threatened. We get lists of detainees sometimes, but the family tell us, do not publicize it because we were told that if we do that, they're going to kill them. من میخوام به فارسی هم چند نکته بگم. خب به فارسی شما همه چیزها رو میدونین، فقط من اولش گفتم برای من خیلی دردناکه به عنوان کسی که شاید بگم از نوجوانی، از 12 سالگی تو زندان بودم، تو 16 سالگی تو زندان بودم و قلبم به درد میاد وقتی که نسل بعد از من، 2 نسل بعد از من هنوز دارن اون درد و سختی رو تحمل میکنن. ولی در عین حال انگار به فارسی آدم خیلی ایموشنال تر میشه، ولی در عین حال میخوام بگم که برا من باعث غروره که هنوز 2 نسل بعد از من دارن میجنگن. اون ویدیوی این دختر جوان رو دیدین، زخمی شده و یواش داره میگه که تا آخر وای میستیم و این نسلیه که از نسل ما شروع شد و چقدر غرورانگیزه که همین نسل داره همینو ادامه میده. من میخواستم بگم که ما در تمام این وضعیتی که دیدیم متاسفانه تمرکز بسیار کمی رو زندانیان سیاسی و بازداشت شدگان بوده و این به شدت خطرناکه. ما تجربه دهه 60 داریم که هزاران زندانی رو قتل عام کردن و خطر این هستش که قتل عام دیگه هم صورت بگیره. یک قتل عامی رو شاهد بودیم در خیابان‌ها در طول همین 2-3 هفته صورت گرفت و قتل عام دیگه در زندان‌ها. همین الان اخبار بر این هستش که بازداشت شدگان رو در واقع کشتن و اونها رو در کنار اجساد دیگه قرار دادن. من نمونه در واقع شهر کرمانشاه رو آوردم، گذاشتن که بگن اینها هم در خیابان کشته شدن، ولی صحبتی که هستش از خانواده ها اینه که مشخصا در کرمانشاه حدود 100 نفر رو که به استادیوم امام آوردن در نزدیک تاق پستان، در واقع اینها اعدامشون کردن. به یه معنی خواهش میکنم منتظر اعدام رسمی نباشین، منتظر اعلام رژیم نباشیم، چون به احتمال 90% خیلی از این بازداشت شدگان رو به اون شکل اعدام میکنن و در کنار اجساد میذارن. خطر دیگه متوجه زندانیان سیاسی که الان در زندانن. رژیم وقتی که میدونه روزهای آخرشه، قتل عام بعدی که میکنه زندانیان سیاسی هستش و ما اینجا از روز اول کمیته آزادی زندانیان سیاسی از 2 روز بعد از اعتراضات به دولت‌ها نامه داد، به کمیته حقیقت یاب نامه داد برای اینکه بگه که این زندانیان در خطر هستن. فشار ما باید این باشه که زندانیان سیاسی و بازداشت شدگان آزاد بشن. میدونم الان ممکن بگین خب با حرف ما آزاد نمیشه. وقتی رژیم ببینه هایلایت و برجستگی رو زندانیان و در واقع بازداشت شدگانه، متفاوت خواهد بود. بعد قوت قلب میدیم به این خانواده ها. بیش از 17 روز یک سری از خانواده ها مقابل دادستانی کرج اونجا وایسادن فقط ببینن بچهشون زنده است یا نه. یک لحظه خودمون رو جای این خانواده ها بذارین، حتی نمیدونن بچهشون کجاست. و الان ما شاهد این هستیم که من اینو گفتم تو صحبتام که خانواده ها بعد از این قتل عام که واقعا بی سابقه است، خودتون میدونین، پیام زندگی رو دارن میدن. در واقع مراسم بچه هاشون رو اونجا موزیک میذارن، میرقصن، میگن این عروسی بچمه. یادتونه در واقع تو زن زندگی آزاده این کارو میکردن، بر سر مزار فرزندانشون کیک روز تولدشون رو میبردن. این یعنی اون مقاومت مردم. باور کنین مردم بی نهایت خشمگینن، فرسوده نشدن. معلومه گریه میکنیم، انسانیم، بغض گلومون رو میگیره، ولی این الان بیشتر از هر زمانی اون قدرت و خشمشون رو میخوان به کار ببرن که رژیم رو سرنگون کنن. من همینطور اشاره کردم. یه نکته دیگه اشاره کردم که اسپانیا و ایتالیا و فرانسه مخالف گذاشتن این روی سپاه و رو لیست تروریستی بذاریم. ما باید بتونیم فشار بیاریم که این دولت ها سفارت ها رو ببنن و دیپلمات ها رو اخراج بکنن. یه لینکی رو گفتم تو همین مسیج میذارم که نامه هستش روی سایتمون که میتونین انتخاب کنین کشورتون رو و نامه اعتراضی رو بفرستین. من خیلی ممنونم که وقت اضافه به من دادید. مرسی.
Thank you all for amplifying the voices of the Iranian people and for your unwavering support for their rights and freedom. از همه شما عزیزان سپاسگزارم که صدای مردم ایران رو به گوش جهان میرسونید و با حمایتی استوار در کنار حقوق و آزادی‌های آنان ایستادید. Now, friends and dear supporters, we have around 10 to 15 minutes for an open discussion. And you're welcome to use any topic related to how we can support and help the Iranian people. And we are starting because one of our people in committee, she has Celine. I don't know if you wanted to speak in Farsi first and then Surush translate it, or I don't know how you wanted to do the article that you have.
درود. من فارسیش رو میگم، سروش جان من کوتاه فقط میگم. درود خدمت همه عزیزان و تسلیت به خانواده هایی که این روز واقعا دیگه نمیتونیم بابت این همه اتفاق چی باید بود جز تسلیت و همدردی خود. این بیانیه خطاب به ایرانیان آگاه و خبرنگاران و فعالان مدنی خارج از کشور نوشته شده توسط یکی از عزیزانی که نامشون محبوس است. امروز دیگه وقتی گفتن نمیشود و دست ما کوتاه هست نیست. از مردم ایران خواستن که دور هم جمع بشن، گفتن که مسئله آزادی، امنیت شغلی، دسترسی به همه امکانات بین‌المللی برای وضعیت ما مهمه. پیشنهاداتی که داشتن رو فقط خدمتتون میخونم: تشکیل شبکه‌های هماهنگ از ایرانیان حرفه‌ای خارج از کشور، خبرنگاران، فعالان حقوق بشر، دانشگاهیان، پزشکیان، هنرمندان و متخصصان برای بحث تعهد به کرامت انسانی، تبدیل صدای فردی به فشار جمعی، گزارش‌های مستند و هماهنگ نامه‌های جمعی به رسانه‌ها، پارلمان‌ها، نهادهای بین‌المللی، دادن به اعتراض بی‌هزینه برای خودمون. منظور از اون اعتراض‌های بی‌هزینه اینه که شاید معمولا هیچ فشاری برای ما وجود نداشته باشه. این فشار لزوما زندان نیست. هزینه یعنی زمان، اعتبار، پیگیری و ایستادن پای یک موضع، ایجاد سازوکار شفاف برای حمایت واقعی، حمایت از خانواده‌های قربانیان، زندانیان، دانشجویان محروم، پناهجویان
اگر میشه یه مقدار خلاصه‌تر. ممنون.
خیلی من بقیه‌شو به انگلیسی بگم بهتره. مرسی ازت.
Dear Surush, if you can just translate it for us.
Yes, for sure.
Thank you. Your voice is a little echoing.
Yeah, just a second. Oh, my apologies.
Okay, take your time.
You should mute the other speakers, Surush. Just leave one mic open.
I think it's better now.
Yep, it's better.
Yeah, my apologies. So this is a letter addressed to Iranians who are politically aware, journalists, civic activists who live outside of Iran. It's to summarize, it says that it is not the time for statements of oh, it's not possible, or our hands are tied. Those who live it asks those who live outside of Iran to have to come together and organize in a way that we have not done before, in a more consolidated and more unified manner. It lists some specific demands. It asks for the creating of networks from professional Iranians who live outside the country, as well as journalists, human rights activists, university academics, doctors, artists and specialists, not on the basis of political affiliation, but on the basis of upholding and strengthening human dignity. It asks for the conversion of individual voices to a collective pressure. with documented and unified action, with media campaigns and letter writing campaigns to parliamentarians and global organizations. And it asks for the end to costless protests that do not apply enough pressure against the regime. Cost does not necessarily mean prison, but it means time, using our time, reputation, and to be and to stand firmly against the regime. And the creation of a transparent process to create for a real and evident support for families of victims, prisoners, expelled students and refugees, not with... Yes,
thank
okay.
you so much. I know that was a little long topic. Thank you so much. Dear Marjan, the microphone is yours. Your hand is up.
Thank you, Nazanin. Thank you, all your dear guests. I just received a message from one of my university colleagues from Iran. He wrote me that it took a lot of effort, but I finally managed to get connected. I have a few updates for you. He has written 4 points. Military forces are going into schools looking for students who have pellet marks on their legs. They are physically checking all the kids. If a student is absent, they threaten the school principal. Most detainees are being held in an inhuman conditions, extreme cold, wearing only underwear. They are forced to sit in the prison yard in the cold. Beating and breaking people's noses and skulls have become something normal. Most VPNs in Iran have stopped working, but the way it's happening is interesting. Many of them seem to be possibly in the coordination with the government. Maybe they have been bought, connecting to certain fixed addresses and then not transmitting any data. So the VPN shows as connected, but it doesn't bypass any filtering. I just wanted to inform you all to support people in Iran again, so to inform all other about these new messages and news. Thank you.
Thank you, dear Marjan. These are all sad news. Dear Mustafa, your hand is up.
Yes, first of all, thank you very much, everybody, for coming and talking in this webinar. Thank you very much, Nazanin and Shiba and
Surush,
Surush,
Maryam,
Saman,
everyone.
Surush, and everybody who's making this happen. I want to invite Rojar Puye, dear Rojar Puye. I forgot to tell you, Nazanin, she was. I know there is not much time, but at least I apologize from Rojar. And if you have a few words, Rojar, please let us know. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Saber and all the attendees. I believe that Mr. Kaveh Shahruz accurately and inclusively mentioned all the international legal means and tools and also risks associated with that to be able to hold regime of Iran accountable. So there are no more legal items that I would cover. But thank you, I appreciate that.
Thank you, Roshan. Thank you. If anyone else has anything to say? We still have around like 1 or 2 minutes before the meeting.
Can I say another thing? I want to draw the attention of everyone in this room that this webinar can be just a start, just starting point for more unified action, for more collaboration, for more united effort to stop a killing machine that is not just killing Iranian, that we don't even know how many. This is a blow in the face of the whole world. This is a genocide happening in front of our eyes, and we should stop it, not just for the Iranian, for the world. Then I hope this is just the beginning for us to work together more than before, and hoping that we can help Iranian people to get rid of the dictator in Iran and create a society based on woman, life, freedom. That's their chant and that's their slogan. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yep, Babak.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, please subscribe our YouTube and send it to your friend and ask them to subscribe it too. And we have to almost close it down because we are running out of time. So thank you for everybody.
Thank you everyone.
مرسی دوستان. به امید آزادی ایران.